Now, everybody has this question in mind. We are so many Kenyans here in the diaspora, and we have so many children that are coming up. The children are more than us. If we are 20,000 Kenyans in law, our children are more than 20,000, because almost every family has 2 children and all that. And those are many votes. So our question is, some of them are becoming 18 years and all that. The first question is, are you going to be running for president?
I say that the issue of running is not in my mind today. I'm not addressing that issue. I'll say that I'm very busy doing other things. That issue will deal with when the time comes and what the Kenyans will be thinking at that time. For now, I've said we have a government, and let the government continue to do its work. Let nobody think about us as if we are going to run. I've said that Raila Odinga can do many other things other than just running for the presidency of Kenya. But having said that, on this issue of diaspora vote, it's an issue over which I've got some very strong feelings. You remember, each time I used to come around here, I was petitioned by Kenyans on 2 issues. One, dual citizenship. The second one was the issue of the right to vote. And I said we will ensure that these rights are granted to these Kenyans. We now have dual citizenship. We also now have it in the constitution that you can vote. Last time we thought that Kenyans were going to be enfranchised to vote. Unfortunately, the IEBC, in its incompetence, ensured that people were not allowed to participate in the vote. I hold, of course, a very low opinion over this present electoral commission. In my view, I've said that it should go, that it cannot really serve the interest of Kenyans. I went to court, as you know, last time. The court rejected my application, not on merit, because they did not even look at the evidence which I had presented. So I said, but in the interest of democracy and peace, I said, I accept, though I don't agree that there was fairness. But the incompetence was in IEBC that did all the messes. There was sufficient time to register the diaspora people and make arrangement for them to participate in voting. That was never done. Even right now, a year has passed, nothing has been done. No arrangements have been started. I'm sure they're waiting to come and say that it is too late, we cannot do it. Logistically, it's not possible. They need to come up with the proper criteria and address some of those critical issues. Like, for example, I would say, who in the diaspora should vote? That question has not been properly answered. And if they're going to vote, where are they going to vote? How are they going to vote? Which polling stations? Or are they going to be online? And so on. Now, there are people here, Kenyans who came here during the airlift 50 years ago, who have since that time never gone back to Kenya, never set foot in Kenya. Now, should this fellow be allowed to exercise his right to decide what is happening to Kenya when he has never been there up to this time? Is this fellow really a Kenyan in the true sense that he can be able to use his vote to affect the lives of people who are living in Kenya? So these are some of the issues which need to be addressed long before we move towards the elections.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, you have been with us for the last couple of months, and we would like to know how you feel about Kenyans in the diaspora. What is our biggest strength, and what areas do you think, in your opinion, that we need to improve on?
Well, Kenyans in diaspora, of course, live differently in different parts of the US and even Europe. Like here in Lowell, for example, the community here is fairly closely knit and united, and they do a number of things together. They go to churches together, and even the leaders of those churches themselves have some kind of forum where they sit and talk and compare notes. There are some other areas where you find Kenyans are scattered and they are in clusters. They are not working as a team or as a group. I would really urge those Kenyans in other parts of the US to follow the example of Lowell, to come together, because as they say, the unity is strength. You will see that communities who live in Kenya, or minorities, come together. Like you see the Hindus have the Hindu union. The Sikhs have got a Sikh union. The Boras have also got their own. So a very good example has been set here in Lowell, where Kenyans work together, Kenyans fellowship together in churches, and I think that they assist each other mutually. This is a good example. I know that some other parts of the US, people are not as united as they are here in Lowell. But they say that unity is strength. So when the people come together, they are able to achieve much more than if they try individually. An example I want to give is that of minorities who live in Kenya. If you go into Kenya, you'll find the Hindu community. They have an organization, they come together. The Sikh Union, the Boras also have their own organization. Through those organizations, they help each other mutually, even in terms of business. Somebody is in problems, they raise money to assist this fellow get out of the problems, and so on. So you find that way you help each other. Nobody sinks. When somebody is in financial distress, he gets assistance, and then eventually he pays back whatever he had borrowed or he had been borrowed. This is the way to move forward. The diaspora is a very strong part of our economy. The remittances coming from diaspora back home is very substantial. By last year's figures, I think it was nearly $1 billion. That is very substantial. And we really want them to continue to do this. We want Kenya to invest not only where they live, but also back in Kenya. When we talk about FDI, foreign direct investments, we're not only meaning an American, a Briton, a German, a Japanese, Chinese coming to invest in Kenya. We're meaning more particularly Kenyans. See, foreigners do not invest in a country to develop it. Foreigners bring their money in a country to make money. And once they've made the profit, they want to repatriate it back, pay dividends to their shareholders, wherever they are. Whereas a local investor plows back the extra capital into the economy. Therefore, you have that multiplying effect of capital. So that's why we really would like to encourage Kenyans to invest in Kenya. And we also want to create a conducive environment which will attract our people to invest. I think that the returns on investment in Kenya will be much higher than they are here in this country. This would really be my message. On the other hand, the government of Kenya must work to create those attractive, the attractive environment by assisting Kenyans. The Kenyan embassy here must be open to Kenyans, and they must actually be more proactive. They need to move around where Kenyans live, talk to Kenyans, understand Kenyans' problems, and find a way of assisting them. That's why we have an embassy here. That's what foreign embassies based in Kenya do to their nationals who are in Kenya. And this is what this Kenyan embassy should be doing here. This will be my message to the Kenyans and also to the government of Kenya.
Prime Minister, you have touched on the very important parts that affect us, and we are glad you did that. Let me put this question to you. We have associations here for Kenyans, but many Kenyans in those parts you have described, they have associations, but they don't want to join. Because there's this mentality most people have that if you start an organization, that some people are looking to get rich by themselves. Yet we are far from Kenya. Here in Lowell, we have the New England Kenyan Association. As an elder, how would you actually ask people in Boston, in Atlanta, in Delaware, wherever they are, can they join those associations?
No, I think it is basically sometimes ignorance, and some other times it is selfishness. Some people think that they can do it on their own. Some other people basically have grown in a way that they are anti-people. They don't understand the value of community and union, because this is something that you do after work. And it is always beneficial to everybody when people come together. What I've seen in a number of places is unity in death. When somebody dies, then all of a sudden, you see people who see the value of society, community. Then a word is sent around to every Kenyan. Oh, tuna msiba, fulani ameifiwa, nataka kupeleka maiti nyumbani. So people should come together to contribute. I'm telling people that that is not development. Taking a dead body to Kenya does not help Kenya. That dead body can be buried here. Because most of the time the body arrives in Kenya, and within the day or the 2 days it is thrown onto the ground. That's the end. Nobody will ever see it again. So my view, that is not development. Even this idea of ferrying bodies people back to Kenya, in my view, is something that should now be stopped. This sentimental attachment to the dead, in my view, is a wasted investment. That people are able to raise within a week $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for the purpose of sending a body home. But somebody is suffering around here, serious problems, but we are not able to raise even $2,000. So when that person is still alive, you cannot raise 2,000. But when he's dead, to take his dead body home, you can raise 20,000. That is misdirected priority. So my appeal will be to Kenyans to unite and work together when they are alive and be able to move to another stage. I'm happy with what has happened here in Lowell. Because I can see shops which are owned by Kenyans. I see the Kenyan enterprise here. But let us move beyond this, move to the next stage where the Chinese are going to, and the Koreans, and so on. Let us aim higher. Let us set the bar much higher than where it is here. Let's say that this is the first phase. Originally, when Kenyans were here, they used just to be employed, menial tasks. They were working in hotels, they were working in shops, in industries, and so on. But now you have got Kenyans with businesses, Kenyans who are actually employing people. This is an improvement. But let us go all the way, like the Jews. The Jews came to this country from Germany without anything. Then they set up here. And within one generation, they moved to a stage where they are now actually controlling the economy of this country. You see, Hilton Mr. Hilton started very low. It's a Rothschild. Started very low. Mr. Sheraton started very low. So I'm just saying, how do you want to see Kenyans going all the way to reach those levels in this country? This country does not belong to anybody. Even those who claim to be here all came from somewhere. The original inhabitants of this country are not there. So it belongs to us just as much as it belongs to anybody else who claim to be American.